Hello everyone, this is Don1151 in Mekkah,
Hi.
and we are bringing to you Chapter 13 of my FE6 hard mode 0% gross playthrough. This is actually probably my favorite map in the game, for several reasons. It's logistically pretty complex, there's a fair enemy density, there are a lot of random cutscenes going on, and on top of all that, we get a pretty amazing unit as kind of icing on top of the cake. Now, for the preparations menu here, there are a few things that I need to know. Because we do get such an amazing unit in the middle of the map, we need to get some items to her. So, Zealot is going to end up taking an Elysian Whip and a Speed Wings that he's not going to use, but we need him to carry those so that he can trade them to our new recruit ahead of time. Roy also withdrew a lot of valuable items from the convoy, and that's because there's one opportunity to sell them by visiting the armory in this chapter, and we might as well do that because we can't sell anything in the preparations menu, so every shop visit is sort of valuable.
Yeah, so about this map, the gate is all the way to the right. There's currently a Korean unit on it. Her name is Cecilia, but she's not going to be there for very long. And yet we do need to seize it. And basically this is just a long horizontal map with just a bunch of bridges that we need to cross. And this can be a very tough thing to do properly because first off, we need to get all these foot units across all these, well, long distances. So we use our horses to rescue chain them in a very complicated way, which is very interesting. And then we also see Shin almost on a suicidal charge into the enemy territory, which is strange because he is a bow user.
Yes, but we do need Shin all the way up there because the enemies will prefer to target him since Zealot has a hand axe equipped, and I'll talk about that later, but right now Cecilia is just about to get destroyed by Zephiel, who's the main bad guy in this game.
Yeah, I would say she's pretty good at getting destroyed. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a battle that lopsided.
Canonically, she manages to live somehow, despite the fact that Zephiel does 29 damage to her 30 HP and also got a crit. So it's more like 77 damage, or 87 damage to her 30 HP.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe how bad she was in that battle. I mean, are you sure you want to recruit her?
Yeah. This enemy phase is a bit tough for Shin, but this is why we need him to go this far, because he's the only one of our units who can one-round KO that sniper and one of the archers on enemy phase. This is because he has pretty much exclusive access to the killer bow. Technically, we could have used Klain too, but Klain can't really move that far, which is why we have to use Shin.
You might have noticed it in a very brief moment, but there was a paladin being highlighted up north. That's Percival. You can technically recruit him on this chapter, but since his hard mode bonuses will only be given to him if you recruit him in a later chapter, we actually choose to ignore him for this chapter. He doesn't charge you, so there's no reason to pay any attention to him, and he just leaves at some point anyway. So for now, we'll just leave him be.
This turn is also a bit complex. You'll see right here that I'm going to have Tate, who's currently carrying Roy. She's going to have to one-hit KO this cavalier, and she does so just barely because she managed to get that extra point of strength from her hard mode bonuses. Killing that cavalier is very important because we need to move Zealot to the space that the cavalier is occupying in order for the rest of the map to go as planned.
Yeah, and it might look very suicidal because Tate is actually holding Roy right now, so her speed and skill are halved. But thankfully we're walling her off with 2 other mounted units to prevent her from getting harmed. She needs to be in that spot because Milady, who's the new recruit that's about to join us, actually doesn't require to be talked to. She flies to you and then she recruits herself pretty much.
Yeah, it's a very interesting and generous recruitment method.
Yeah, it's like she gets hard mode bonuses, but you never actually have to fight her, which is just great. It's like, hey dude, here's some free bonuses. But yeah, that's why Tate needs to be there holding Roy, because if Roy's not on the field, he's being rescued, which means she needs to talk to the person that's rescuing.
Yeah. The location of Roy when Milady gets recruited provides one way to sort of manipulate where Milady shows up on the map. And essentially we want her to show up as close to the gate as possible, because that means that she's another unit that we can use to help rescue chain everyone to the target destination.
Yeah, I also want to note, we just did some very obscure stuff right here, like, I think it was Klain who just used the ballista to arm an enemy. I don't think we've seen that before in this playthrough, which is really great. Also, Shanna just went off to visit the village in the northwest of the map. That's because there's a body ring in there, which is useful for boosting constitution or selling it for gold, whatever you prefer.
The body ring doesn't tend to be a very valuable item because constitution, like increasing constitution, doesn't really help a lot, and in some cases it can hurt. But in the specific case for 5 and 6, we do need it for a future character, so that's why we need to visit the village. I think now is probably a good time to sort of talk about how awesome Milady is, because we managed to catch her just in time to have her promote, and you'll soon get a glimpse of just how great her base stats are. Keep in mind that this is with hard mode bonuses, so naturally there's a bit of variance in what her hard mode stats are, but if you look at her average hard mode bonus stats on a site like Seren's Forest, you'll notice that they're not really consistent. For example, her strength is actually 16.5 instead of 17, and her defense is actually 15.5 instead of 16. So it's important for us to manipulate ahead of time Milady's stats such that they always round up, because it's possible for her to be slightly strength or defense screwed, and that's really bad, because we need her to basically carry the brunt of her fighting for the rest of the game.
Yeah, to give you an idea of how good a fighting flyer is, we've been using Shanna and Tate for pretty much the entire game so far, and they have been somewhere between really bad and below average at fighting. We've had that amazing moment with Tate where she won round KO the shaman with a javelin, but that was really about it. Milady is actually really good at fighting, and she still flies around, so you get a very flexible and very powerful unit to work with, and that's why she's so important to this run.
It's a bit difficult to overstate how good Milady is. Really her only weakness is that, like most other wyvern riders, she doesn't have a very good resistance stat, which means that she's susceptible to enemy magic. She's also kind of forced to use only lances because promoting her gives her really poor E rank in swords, which means that sometimes when she has a face weapon triangle disadvantage, she doesn't do too well, in that, like, you know, she can't really kill bosses that well because she doesn't have all the tools necessary.
Yeah, and here we see, I don't know if my Japanese is up to par, but I think I just saw Lance blocking the way for Klain. Lance is like equivalent of a level 1 cavalier from all the way back from chapter 1, and we have not deployed him in ages. But now he's right there, and he's going to take a hit to protect Klain, which I would say is probably one of the knightliest things he could have done.
Yeah, the reason why I deployed Lance here instead of Alan is because if I deployed Alan, he would have gotten doubled by that Cavalier. But Lance has enough speed not to be doubled. So it's just a matter of, you know, which Cavalier is less bad, really.
Yeah, so now we get to the armory and get all of our gold in. I just want to say, this has been a very unique chapter with a lot of interesting rescue drops. Like, you just dropped Klain, almost in enemy range, but not quite. It's been very interesting.
The armory visit is extremely important because that's the first armory available that sells killer lances, and we need killer lances as the primary form of offense for Milady, because she can't use any other weapon type. Otherwise, we'd be fine with other sorts of killer weapons. Klain here is going to just simply destroy this boss with a brave bow.
Yeah, it's actually one of the easiest boss kills I've seen. I think he doesn't need killer weapons; he just kills.
Yeah, it's a boom headshot, but twice because it's a brave bow.
So painful.
We have Shanna visit the village finally for the body ring. Clarion heals Lance, which is not really like anything important. I just wanted to have her level up, but you can tell that she's never going to reach like level 10, so there really wasn't a point in her healing. And finally we have Roy seize the gate. So that's chapter 13 completed in 5 turns. We will see you next time.
See ya.